Well, here we are. Some things don't change, Mr. Matrix. Some things don't change north of the border. New South Wales lose Origin series when they should win. And we're here just lamenting. Oh, fucking hell. Turn that shit off.
If I haven't been sent that 50 times today, I'll give up.
Oh, and the rest. Well, let's just start. Let's
One
start
of us,
right.
one of
start
us
right
lives
there.
in Queensland. Try walking down the street at the moment. Dear, oh dear.
Well, you do. And I think it's fair to say, in summary, after the first game, we thought that New South Wales would win the series and probably win the series easily. The longer it went, as in the closer it got to game 2, closer it got to game 3, the more nervous we got.
Yeah, I agree, Stephen. I just... I spent Sunday and Monday looking at replays and a whole range of background information, and I was just convinced that New South Wales had the right team, the right setup with their big men through the middle, and my assumption that with an even share of ball that they could play that dominant yardage game that they played in game 1 and set up the result. What you just don't know is how mentally prepared they are and if they're ready to go and roll their sleeves up. And I thought they were just atrocious, absolutely horrible. And I thought Queensland were just outstanding. They turned up in spades. And let's put this in perspective, Stephen. Queensland lost game 1 and dropped their captain and then win on a neutral ground and then win a decider in Sydney.
It's amazing. I think, yet again, in summary, I think the long and short of it, we saw it with Brad Fittler and we've seen it with Laurie Daly. Billy Slater absolutely coached rings around them.
Yeah, he did.
Over the period of the 3 games. I think that's the first thing. I think the second thing is I'm just absolutely astounded at the lack of, I don't know what you call it, just a lack of turning up. Like we were just, it was. I mean, we were all just speechless last night because it's absolutely no issue if you turn up and you drop balls, miss tackles, and you lose a game. But the application to the process of getting out of the gates quickly, full of intensity, off your defensive line, really up in their face and really, showing the Tommy Dearden desire to win.
Yep.
You just didn't see.
No.
That's the thing that astounded me.
What got me after about 20 minutes, and then it didn't change after half time, but I was hopeful that after about 20 minutes that the message might have got out there to correct the fact that all they did was try and play sideways and pull quick passing sideway plays out of their backside to try and open something up with this whole expectation that all they had to do was turn up and create plays and the rest was going to be easy. And they didn't earn the yardage to try and then have the right to use the football. Then the other thing that was just a standout was their end of set execution was horrible. I mean, that first end of set 6 where they early in the game get great field position and then Luai kicks dead, gives them back a seven tackle set
after a really good set.
Go to the second try down that right edge for Queensland. Where was the desperation to want to make that tackle? There were 3 New South Wales players that were just completely haphazard in wanting to get involved. And, away they race. And Dearden scores a 40-metre try. Wow.
And I think the other thing that astounded me is that, which, unfortunately, I think it probably reflects on one El Daly, who we all know is a fantastic fella, but as an elite coach, a lot to be. I know your view. You're really you're really positive on him, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely. And mate, I've been kicking myself around the block for 24 hours at the fact that I got sucked in to backing him. And You're 100% right. Lovely fella, champion guy to have a beer with. In a similar category to Kevin Walters, but
Yeah, I was just astounded that there was no plan. Well, the plan A was obviously to play lateral and just drop runners underneath. No variation around that. Then you got this compressed rushing defence, which okay. Well, that's what they came with, and you can get you can play around that. You can play through it. You can look at variations of really trying to diffuse that. The thing that astounded me was there was no plan B. There was no plan C. So Nathan just kept playing laterally, and Jerome kept playing laterally. There were no, if that was Joey Johns, he would have picked up on that in 10 or 15 minutes, and then started dropping grubbers in behind the line and things where you're making the defensive line think that they're not just going to have it all their own way.
100% right, but the first thing that Joey Johns would have done was say, guys, let's get back through the middle. Let's dominate the middle 30% of the field with our big men on our first three plays. That earns us the right to then decide where we want to play, and or with the outside up and in quick defence, let's play back through the middle and dominate there. Yeah, it's very, very poor. And hats off to Billy Slater. I mean, under enormous pressure going into game 2, he's corrected all of that. The work ethic of some of those forwards, Dearden was just outstanding. I mean, the guy's played 2 games and wins man of the series.
Gee, he was outstanding.
Oh,
now
absolutely.
He was the first player that Kevy let go.
Yes,
if you remember, he was. Yeah,
I do. Yeah, I've joked about that with a couple of people today.
I tell you what, I tell you what that shows, and I know they're struggling and up at the Cowboys, but gee, they put a lot of confidence. Sorry, they rebuilt a lot of confidence in him in the last couple of years. He's just, I mean, there's nothing not to love about Tom Dearden.
100%.
He seems like a great fella to have a beer with. Humility just leaking out of him. 120% in everything he does. Like when you watch him and Ruben Cotter play last night, I was just sitting there thinking, why are the Cowboys where they are?
Yeah, it's a decent question, but I said in a radio chat with Jimmy Smith earlier in the week talking about Origin that for Queensland to win, they needed Dearden and Munster to play straight, and in particular, one of them have a blinder and take the line on with direct play. Well, Dearden stood up and did that in spades, and let's not forget he was man of the series for the Kangaroos at the end of last year. He's the Australian halfback today. And should then become the incumbent going to the Kangaroo Tour, and
how could you not pick him? How would he not be your starter?
No.
Like Nathan's played in 5 grand finals in a row and he's won 4. Unbelievable career so far at the ripe old age of 26, 27, and he's obviously got another probably 8, 9, 10 years ahead of him still. If he stays fit and he's got the desire to continue to play. But last night, you didn't really know Nathan was on the field, but geez, I tell you what, you knew Tom Dearden was.
100%. And my disappointment around Nathan is, the question was posed today: is he a very good? There's no doubt he's a very good individual talent. Is he a very good system talent where the structure and the system he plays plays to his strengths? And I think that's very true. And come back to that earlier point that, a Joey Johns or a Cooper Cronk would have grabbed hold of that game last night when it was going the wrong way and tried. They might not have been successful. They would have tried to get back to the basics of big men, dominate yardage, let's create something back through the middle. But, hats off to Queensland. I mean, Billy Slater after, Madge renting space in his head last year has turned it around that, he did the same to Fittler, he's done the same to Daly now. And look out next year. I mean, Laurie Daly's got the gig, he's got a 2-year contract, he's got the right people at New South Wales Rugby League just think he's a superstar. It will be more of the same. It will be more of the same.
So you think that right here, right now, there is no chance of Laurie Daly being moved to the side and...
Well, he's got a written contract.
Oh, I know he's got that, but that doesn't mean anything
But
with
it'd only
coaches.
be if Laurie chose to step down.
Uh,
He won't.
hmm.
Well, he said last night, it's okay, I'm the right man for next year because we're building something. Not sure what he's building, but
Oh, I tell you, if you want to watch a bit of a train wreck, that press conference was pretty.
that was embarrassing.
Yeah, it's pretty ordinary.
And what about the old question of, and where are you from? How dare you ask me that question? Where are you from?
Yep. The other thing I think for the big watch out of Origin is you watch the two centres, two Queensland centres. I reckon watch their form in the back end of the year.
Yep.
Those guys will grow another leg.
Oh, well,
The confidence that they would have got out of the last couple of games.
Absolutely. Defensively, they were outstanding.
Yeah.
And both Shibasaki in particular took some opportunity with the football that was outstanding. Hats off to Billy. I mean, he found the right people. He put belief in them, and he pulled them together. And I know he's man of the match in game 2, and I thought that there were potentially a couple of other blokes in front of him, but I thought Munster was just super last night. I mean, Dean was the standout, but Munster's kicking game, that's possibly as good a kicking game in a Origin or a key game that I've seen him do. He was incredibly focused.
Yeah, he was very good. But Tommy Dearden was, for me, easily the best player on the field, and I reckon Ruben Cotter not far behind him.
Yep, no doubt.
Righto, well, we've got another split round, Mr. Matrix. We're back. Origin is done and dusted. We now get into the back end of the season. This is the last of split rounds. It starts tomorrow night with a side that really needs to get into the form. Sharks at home against the Dolphins, who have been in form. I must say, I'm surprised here with the betting. I'm surprised that the Sharks are favourites.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, are you not?
No, I think they should be wider.
Oh, what? The Sharks should be shorter?
Yeah, I think they should be shorter and the margin, the line of handicap wider. And as you touch on, we've got 7 games this week, and then we get into full 8-week rounds. We've got 9 weeks left, so we're now over Origin, and I'm sure this weekend there'll be a few players missing with being rested and or the odd injury, but we then get into this really important stretch of run home where we sort out the men from the boys and who the real contenders are. For mine, Stephen, I think that we look like we've got about 10 contenders for what matters. And then it's going to be very interesting. I think your top 2 are going to fight out the minor premiership, and then very open around what happens behind them and who challenges to fill the top 4. And then the top 8.
So we're calling Raiders and Storm are going to fight out the minor premiership, or Raiders, Storm, Bulldogs?
No, Raiders, Storm.
Yeah, and Raiders, Storm.
I would suggest, the Raiders are $1.70 now to win the minor premiership, and with their run home, it's incredibly soft. While they're not winning comfortably at the moment, their last 4 wins have been by 4 points. I just can't see in their draw on the way home until possibly, maybe the third last, if not the last game. They've got Parramatta next week. Then they go Newcastle, St George, Manly. I think they can win all 4. Then they got the Panthers. That's a nice test. Then they've got the Tigers, and then they've got the Dolphins at the end. So potentially 2 games that could be a challenge, but they're sitting very pretty. The Storm, 3 wins behind them. So they need the Raiders to stumble a couple of times to be any chance, which at the moment appears certainly highly doubtful. Storm have got a tough run. Bulldogs come off 2 losses, now down to 3rd spot. I think they have a very difficult run home. I question whether they actually stay in the 4. Warriors, good run, but now losing Metcalf, lost Barnett. They've got some key injury outs. Nice test for them. The Broncos have got a pretty good draw, and having put together their last 4 wins, all of a sudden are snapping at the heels of an opportunity in the top 4. I think you can kiss the Eagles good night, and I think they'll drop out. So then it's a matter, do the Sharks hold on? Where do the Panthers improve themselves to? And are the Roosters a contender?
I think that's a good summary. I think the Roosters will be a contender. That's my 2 bops worth. The Panthers will be there somewhere. And you think the Dolphins are going to hang on?
I think they will.
Gee, they've got some injuries.
Yeah, they have. But they've got 162.4 and against. So there are teams below that have not only got to get to their win level, but get above them because of that positive differential. This game here, and that's one of the reasons why I think that the Sharks should be priced wider. The Dolphins come off an impressive last start win, but they now add to that they've lost another key player in Nikorima. Add to that Plath, Safidi, Gilbert gone for the season, Bostock. So there's 5 guys gone for the season. Well, that's right. So 5 guys out for the season and 2 guys out for this week, which are Nikorima and Kafusi. And they're probably not going to be back for another 3, maybe 4 weeks. I don't like Sullivan at 6, and I think it then thins their bench. Play the Sharks at Shark Park. Been very disappointing over the last 4 or 5 outings. Slightly better attitude improvement down in Melbourne, but got beat 30-6. Had to come from behind to beat the Dragons. Very poor the way they fell away against the Broncos. You and I both know that they've had the right app read to them by Fitzy, and he's really ripped into a few people about attitude and performance. I think they come into this game with a freshen up at home. I didn't think 3.5 was enough, so I'm with the Sharks, and I think they can cover the line.
Okay, well, they've had a bit of a rest. It'll be interesting. They're on my watch. I'm really interested to see if they falter into the back end of the season, fall out of the top 8, or we get a some sort of resounding bounce back from them. So.
And Steve, you look at their lineup this week. I mean, it's just about as strong as it can get. They've got Kennedy, they've got Trindle, they've got Hines. Yep, Brayley's there. He's got Atkinson off the bench. He's got 4 big men. The big fellas through the middle has been their strength. There's no excuse. They put up this week or they're in free fall.
Okay, Saturday, 3 p.m. Knights take on the Storm. Kalen Ponga gone for the season. Fletcher Hunt back to fullback. Be interesting to see if the Origin guys turn around for the Storm. I would think probably not. Up in Newcastle, by any chance?
Munster definitely is out.
Yeah.
So then it's a matter of
they've named Wishart at 6. Yep. So none of them have been named in the side.
No. They come off some confidence footy. They've won their last 5 now, thank goodness. Got a bit of a roll on. Not winning some of those by as big a margins as they could have. Got away with a last late Golden Point win over the Rabbitohs. Their last 2 went up to Queensland under strength without their rep players last weekend and won. Now play the Knights. Knights' strength in the last couple of weeks has been getting key people back, but obviously lose Ponga. I'm just not sold on their 6 and 7 with Hastings and Cogger. I prefer Tyson Gamble being in there, which I've mentioned before, but they've got Safidi and Thompson this week. So their starting forwards is about as strong as it can be. At home, I think they give this a test. I think the Storm end up with the win, but the market's been quite wide and firming all week.
I tell you, the other guy that was very good last night was his best game of all of the series was Trent Loiero.
Yeah, he was. He was very good. And again, coming back to your earlier point, a guy who getting more and more confidence as he grows, being an Origin player.
Totally. Okay, righto. So you think the Storm there, but the Knights are going to test them. And
I think the line looks pretty generous.
Yeah, it's very generous to the Knights. Paying $4 at present.
10.5 is 10.5 start is wide.
Yes, it is. Righto, Saturday, 5:30, we can sit down and watch a game at Jubilee Stadium. It is the Red V taking on their nemesis, the Roosters.
Yeah, and Roosters obviously absolutely dusted them up on Anzac Day, 46-18. At Cogra, gee, I think the big thing here, Stephen, is all these ins for the Roosters now because
Yes, I know.
disappointing last week and really poor first half and then let the second half get away from them again against an understrength Tigers. But now they get Walker in, Billy Smith in, Radley in, and then they get their rep-ins. You know, that's, what are we, 8 key players in.
Yes, Connor Watson's name, Lindsay Collins, Angus Crichton. It's a decidedly different pack when you've got Watson. Well, if these guys start, but Watson, Collins, Crichton, Radley back from injury,
Lenu.
And Lenu on the bench. Different side,
and
isn't
Collins,
it?
And then you add, Billy Smith, and most importantly Walker at 7. Very key. I mean, some positive ins for the Dragons with Stewart being back, Hamish Stewart, who's certainly been one of their better players this season.
What's the other positive in?
Okay, I was trying to be plural just to be generous.
Righto.
I thought the market was generous. I didn't think 5.5 was enough to make this competitive.
Oh, I like this. Keep going.
That's all.
Okay. Righto. Okay. Yep. Now, can I just say something on the Dragons?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, none of us have got any time for this online bullying, but I think I'll give it to Sookie Bub. I'm not going to call him Sookie Bub anymore. Mr. Ricky Stewart in his press conference coming out nice and strongly and really giving it to the media, reporting on it, highlighting it, and obviously the trolls for undertaking the carry on that they do carry on with. So I think good on Ricky standing up for that, because it doesn't matter who it is, it just shouldn't be happening. People hiding behind keyboards and some of the stuff like that lunatic Dragon supporter. Yeah. I saw some of the stuff, like it was really bad. Really bad.
It's atrocious, and I agree with you totally. And I've been saying for years, I wish that we had to provide, proper license and ID registration, passport or alike, to be able to have any sort of social media account. Yep.
Great idea. Yeah. Great idea.
And that these people need to be jumped on by everybody and sundry and hit as harshly as we can. Can I just make a point, though? I agree with everything Ricky Stewart said last week. Right?
Okay, yep.
But that's the same bloke that in a press conference called an opposition player.
Yeah. No, that has been raised by numerous parties, but still.
But what he had to say last week was 110% right.
Yeah, it was 100%. There's no room in the game or in society actually for that sort of crap. Hiding behind a keyboard and carrying on like an absolute lunatic.
Interesting, Steve, to see the story in the last couple of days linking Anderson with the Dragons.
Daniel Anderson. Well, he'd be a bloody good get, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he is. And he's a very experienced guy. Really knows footy. He's obviously coached. He's spent many years working in development now. Really knows his stuff. He'd be a great asset for you.
Yeah, and he's a good fella too.
Yeah,
real good fella.
Really good fella.
No, that would be I think that'd be a great get. I think that would be a really good get. Righto. We go to 7. So we've got 3 games on the Saturday. We've got the 3, 5:30, and then 7:30. We go up to Cowboys, taking on the Bulldogs. I'm interested to watch this one. I see Galvin's been named on the bench. Whether or not Dearden and co back up. And it's in Townsville, and the Cowboys need a win.
That they do, and you go back through the last, probably 8-9 games for the Cowboys. Their 2 wins have been the West Tigers and the Gold Coast Titans. It doesn't reek a lot of strength, does it? Got home late a few weeks ago against the Titans. Both teams without their rep players last week when they went down to the Storm 26-20. Home record's been terrible this year, 3 from 8, which is not what they would normally do in Townsville. They've got 4 key guys that need to back up for them. You'd have to suspect that Robson has to be doubtful. My goodness, the work that he got through in the middle last night.
How many tackles did that guy make?
Yeah, and, Reuben Cotter, clearly something very similar. Dearden's coming off a amazing game.
If you actually, just on that one, if you picked a New South Wales side right now, would you have, like, if we had 4 games, would you have Robson there?
Yes. Who's your alternate?
No, I'm just asking the question because I thought in a beaten side he was really, really good.
Yeah, I thought he was their best forward. Yeah, he did the work for a few others that didn't last night. What about the Bulldogs? How the hell did they lose that game last week? And I just couldn't believe, up 18-0, completely lost their way, some horrible errors, then tried to protect the game and crumbled. That's now 2 key losses in a row. On the road, up to Townsville, I think they can bounce back and they need those key players in. But this is not straightforward, especially with, you've got the likes of Crichton backing up, Max King. Very interesting game. Nice test for them. I certainly think the Bulldogs, Cowboys have just been so difficult to find, but the Bulldogs for me.
I'm really interested to see the back end now, how Serraldo uses Lockie Galvin. He was pretty bloody ordinary last week.
Yeah, he was. And coming back to your earlier point, I think some of the pile on the poor fella was just horrible. And again, it comes back to some of the rubbish media focus that the poor fella had in the months leading up to that. He was poor, especially in the first half. Made some poor errors, but he had some mates around him that didn't get that focus.
2:00 Sunday, we have the form side, the Tigers, taking on the Warriors. You don't agree?
Form side.
They won last week.
They lost the 6 prior.
Oh, okay.
Actually, they were very good last week. I love their attitude.
They were good, yep.
Yeah, caps off to Benji off some of the midweek crap that was thrown at him, and part of which was probably deserved, but he had them right. Young Latu Fanu at 7 was outstanding. They get Luai back. Importantly, they get Coruscant back. But they've got to travel across the ditch to play the Warriors in Auckland, and their travel record interstate, let alone distant, is very poor. But the Warriors have got a few issues themselves because they're now without Metcalf, they're without Nickel Kostat at the back, already without Barnett. Bit of a test for them. They come off a freshen up at home, very good coach, need to respond. But I thought they were poor in their last couple of outings, being beat to the Panthers and the Broncos. I think the Warriors win. Gee, I just have a sneaking suspicion there's a little ambush coming from the Tigers and they make this an entertaining game.
Health check on the Warriors. Make the 8, yes or no?
Well, I think you've got enough wins with 10 in the bank to get themselves there, but I think they're going to have the hippie shakes through some of the weeks ahead. They've got the Tigers, the Knights, the Titans, the Dolphins, the Bulldogs, the Dragons, the Titans, the Eels, and the Eagles. That means that after last weekend, they have no more buys in the bank. It means that Newcastle will not be easy. The Dolphins will be tough. They get the Bulldogs, that's tough. And then they finish with the Eagles. I think they've got enough wins to get home, but I think that it's going to be an up and down road.
Righto, okay. I'm looking forward to this one, Battle of the West. These are always good games, Eels versus Panthers.
They are, yep.
4:05 out at CommBank Stadium, which is actually the home ground for both teams until the Panther Stadium's rebuilt. But this week it's the Eels They have Talon De Silva. It'll be his first start. He's starting off the bench. From all reports, he's hit the ground running. How do
Such a
you see this
pity.
one playing out?
Such a pity. Mitchell Moses wasn't fit to play here.
It is.
Well, I think the key is what Panthers line up. They've got most of their rep players named on the bench, but
I don't think he'll play him, will he? I mean, if you go over Cleary's sort of past, he seems to just be happy to sit him out.
No, I think he'll play him this week because he rested him last game when they all went to Auckland. He didn't take them. They now get a Sunday game, so he's got from Wednesday to Sunday for potential recovery. A lot of those guys, I'm sure, like Cleary and Edwards and Yeo, are going to be very keen to want to back up off a midweek Origin loss. I'd suggest that To'os has to be in significant doubt, and Martin picked up a little bit of a hand injury last night. So, final teams here is a key. Eels off the bye, you're right, they get the Silver in. I'm just worried about where enough of their points come from. If we see some of that second half positive attack and ball shift that they had against the Dragons, this gets a really entertaining game. And with the Panthers, but I thought the line looked wide and advantage to the Eels.
What is it there? We've got okay. Right on 9.5 start. Okay.
And it's been firming over the last couple of days too.
Righto, we move to the last game of the round, 6:15. Broncos after a good second half, but their first half last week against Bulldogs was pretty bloody ordinary. Coming up against a coachless Titans.
Yes, he's gone.
You called it.
Mutual agreement. In other words, there's the clauses. What's the best way forward? Anyway, next year, Des will be sitting on the beach at Kiama in his $3.5 million home, enjoying retirement, and good luck to the man. I know it's been a checkered couple of years at the Titans, but he's had an outstanding career as a player, international rep, and then as a outstanding premiership winning coach. My goodness, the Titans. The other positive, let's hope it's positive news for them this week, is that the Frizzels have bought out the other 50% partner in the Kelly family.
Is that good? Is that a move in the right direction, do you think, for the Titans? Because, geez, I need something positive.
Well, I think it's good in that you've got, one person in control or one group in control. But, they need, we've said before, they need a lot of footy IQ and IP at a very senior level from their board down to try and get this right and move forward. And I just wonder, Stephen, if in the coming weeks, and this might be the starting one, they cop a few more big hidings because, the players are going to know that, Des is no longer driving the bus, who's there next year, what's going on. You just wonder about who gives up. The Broncos are on a little bit of a roll. I think there's some softness through a few of those wins, but importantly, they've won 4. I tell you, the big key to many of those wins in the last couple of weeks has been the form of Marm at 6. I mean, he turned that game around last week.
Yeah, he was excellent.
With Walsh at 1, with him playing, you'd have to suggest that Payne Haas is in doubt here, but they also get Benny Hunt back. And I think with Benny Hunt starting at 9 and Billy Walters coming off the bench, that just gives them so much more experience and direction. And, I think the Broncos win. And I know it's, what is it, 10 points, the line. I actually think they'll be covering that and winning pretty comfortably.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they're about to run into a bit of form, actually.
Yeah, I do too.
We've seen a little bit of fleeting form, but I think we're about to see it. Righto, so run us through your tips.
Look at the Broncos run home very quickly. It's not until round 23 they get the Storm, 24 they get the Dolphins, and then the last round they get the Storm again. So they got 3 really tough ones. In the middle there's also the Knights. Very interesting to watch how they might sail home. With the Sharks, with the Storm, with the Roosters, with the Bulldogs, with the Warriors, with the Panthers, with the Broncos. I thought the best of the week was the first game, Stephen, the Sharks to cover -3.5.
Okay. Well, I don't have a multi. I've just got a straight up. I think whatever you've got to get the number to. I think taking 10.5 start Sunday afternoon, Eels versus the Panthers. I like.
Yep. Yeah, I think you're in that for a show.
Righto. Well, thank you, Mr. Matrix. Thanks for all your hard work and dissecting the state of origin because it meant nothing.
Yeah, yippee, yippee, yeah.
Righto. I don't want to listen to that again. We'll catch you next week. We'll do a big run on the tipping comp. We'll be back into the 1,000 a week. If you're once we get through the split rounds, if you're the only man picking the full card. And I think I had a good look at the ladder. There's quite a few up the top that are hanging in there that haven't taken their wild card.
Yep.
We've got some interesting times ahead.
It's not over yet.
It ain't over yet. See you, Mr. Matrix.
See ya.
Bye-bye.